Thanks for joining us for today's After Cesarean video. Today we'll talk about what you are allowed to do in the first 2 weeks after having a cesarean. There are a few things that are safe to do even in the very early days after a cesarean. Joining us today is Lori and her baby girl, Lucchini. Lori is 5 weeks after a cesarean today. We'll start with a classic yoga position called the mountain pose. It's really just a posture. It's very important after a cesarean to not lean into the pain, but rather keep your heart open and to stand erect. So I'll ask you to put Lucchini down on the blanket. So we're not using the baby's weight as resistance with any exercise in the first 2 weeks. So start standing with your feet hip-width apart, moving your heels out just slightly so the edges of your feet are parallel. Engage your thigh muscles, drop your tailbone down, and then lower your shoulders down away from your ears, turning your palms facing forward. Imagine a string pulling you upward from the crown of your head so that your spine grows longer. This is the mountain pose. Breathing several deep breaths here, focusing on opening your heart and standing tall. When you're at least 10 days after your cesarean, you can take your arms out to the sides and up overhead, inhaling up, and exhale your hands to the heart. Again, inhaling, arms out to the sides and up overhead. Exhale, hands to the heart. 3 more centering breaths. Imagine gathering energy around you. If you're in those first 10 days, do this without the arm movements because we don't want to cause any undue strain on your incision site. 1 more centering breath. You can do the centering breaths without the arm movements, just keeping your hands at your heart, filling with the energy you draw in from around you with the centering breaths. Good. From here, we'll move to sitting. Down on the mat, so make your way down to sit. In those first days after your cesarean, you might find that any movement is a little uncomfortable. Remember that you have had abdominal surgery. Those first 2 weeks are a critical time. You don't want to overdo, no lifting, no twisting, but you can do a few relaxation stretches that'll help you release the tension in your neck and shoulders. So sitting with a long spine, inhaling deeply. As you exhale, drop your chin toward your chest. Stay here for a deep breath. When you inhale, take your chin over toward the right shoulder. Stay here for a deep breath. Next inhale, come back to the center and then over to the left shoulder. Stay for a breath. We all tend to hold tension in those muscles around the neck and above the shoulders. Inhale back to the center, lifting the head slowly. Drop your right ear toward your shoulder. Take your right hand up and over and rest it on your left ear. Breathing deeply. Sitting with a long spine. So we're not pulling here, just the weight of the hand resting on the head. Release that stretch, placing the hand back down on the knee. Drop the left ear toward the left shoulder. Take the left hand up and over, just resting it on the right ear. Use an inhale to come out of the stretch. Practicing some shoulder rolls. Inhale, shrug your shoulders up toward your ears, and exhale, roll them back and down for 5 breaths. Inhale up, rolling back, opening your chest. Inhale up, rolling the shoulders back and down. Following deep breaths. Last one. Good. You can repeat that whole series of neck and shoulder release exercises several times throughout the day. It's a great relief for the tension that we hold in the neck and shoulders. There are a couple of exercises that you can do lying down. So come down to lying on your back. At day 10, after a cesarean, it's okay to do a gentle pelvic tilt. So just pressing the low back flat, holding it for a breath, and release on an inhale. Again, exhale, press flat, drawing inward and upward on the inside for a strong Kegel contraction, holding that through the breath, and then release. For a total of 10 reps, exhale, press flat, hold for a full breath, activating the Kegels muscles for a strong pelvic floor contraction. Good, and release. Exhale, press flat. Good. And release. Follow your breath, using an exhale to press your low back flat, also drawing in the perineum for a strong pelvic floor contraction, holding that contraction and the pelvic tilt through the full breath, and inhaling to release. Good. Just a few more reps. Since this is the exercise you can do, you might want to do it even a few times a day, and that's perfectly fine. Start off with 8 to 10 reps, and you can work your way up to 15 or 20, 3 to 5 times a day. Inhale, release. Good. Another activation of the core muscles. Cross your hands over your body so that you're feeling the space between the rib and the bottom rib and the pelvis. Inhale deeply here, and when you exhale, press your low back flat and contract that space where your fingers are touching on your side body. Inhale, release. Exhale, contract. Inhale, release. Exhale, contract. Inhale, release. Exhale, contract. Follow your breath. Good. Again, start with 8 or 10 reps, but work your way up to 15 to 20 a few times a day. In these first couple of weeks, it's best the first 10 days to take it easy, not trying to activate the abdominal muscles at all. But from day 10 to 14, you can do these pelvic tilts and activation of the side body, the transverse abdominis muscle, several times a day to start waking up those abdominal muscles that were stretched out during pregnancy and weakened by the incision through the abdominal wall. Thanks very much for joining us for the After a Cesarean series, 0 to 2 weeks. At the 2-week mark, you can move on to the next video, 2 to 4 weeks.